I know what it is. All right, we'll give them a few minutes to come in. Welcome, welcome. Welcome to Beauty by Joyce
We are
Vlog.
live, right, Joyce?
We are live. We're just waiting on them to come in.
Okay.
As you come in, please hit that thumbs up button. Y'all know we got to start with the band. Let's watch Jackson State bring it on in. Y'all, when y'all see these fellas right here, these drum majors right here are going to knock your socks off. I love it. I've watched it like 10 times. Y'all know how crazy I am. Let me blow up the screen so y'all can see these steps now. Come on through steps. Y'all keep y'all eyes on the Sonic Boom drum majors, please. You will not regret it. Hey, QI Critical Thinking, thank you. Catch this, QI. Catch them stepping real quick. All right, they getting ready, y'all. Y'all got to catch this. They're not playing with you. I love drum majors, man. All right, here go the groove. All right, y'all here. Oh, y'all just watch. Oh my goodness. Y'all wait till they cut this rug real quick.
What in the world are you doing promotion?
Here they go, y'all. Ow. Get it, fellas. Get it. Look at them, y'all.
They're playing a Motown sound too. Get ready.
Y'all. Here they come some more. Y'all, all right, so that is Sonic Boom from Jackson State. My goodness, my goodness. Good evening, good evening. Oh my goodness, hey everybody.
Hello.
All right, so tonight, yes, we have Dr. Gloria Brown Gordon. We have Aisha Collins Journey. We got TC, the HBCU queen, and of course, me, Joyce Vlogs. Good evening, everybody. Come on in and click that thumbs up button. We're going to go ahead and move right on into the live, into the interview. All right, let me just say hi to everybody. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Carolyn Payne. Hey, Jerome MacArthur. Hey, Felicia Fee. If you all would please share this live so the more people can know that we're live. Did you all check out that band? Yeah, I'm telling y'all, I'm going to play it again before we get out of here. I have to look at it. I done looked at it about 10, 15 times. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. I get excited about the bands. I get excited. All right.
Addictive. It's addictive.
Yes, it is. And I just love them. I love them. So let's see here what we got.
Joyce, QI was in the band also. She played the tuba, so she knows all about that good old down home that band stuff. That those HBCU bands. She knows. You muted, Joyce.
You said she was a tuba player?
Yes.
Oh my
Yes.
goodness. All right. So y'all, welcome to Joyce Vlogs. I am Joyce and I'm the executive producer, and TC HBCU Queen is the production manager. Welcome to our Black Excellence series on HBCUs, historically Black colleges and universities. And so we got Jackson State in this house. They were created in, hold on, let me get it up here. Established October 23rd,
1877.
1877.
Oh.
1877. Location is Jackson, Mississippi. Their colors are navy blue and white. They are NCAA Division One. Nickname are Tigers. The mascot is the Bengal the Tiger. Let's see what else we got here. Um, they play in the Southern Western Athletic Conference. Let's see what else we got here.
The swag. The
They
swag.
started actually in y'all actually started in Natchez,
Yes,
Mississippi.
we started in Natchez, Mississippi as Natchez Seminary.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to pull up you all's history real quick. I got lost trying to get to the band. Y'all go.
What do you want to know about our history?
You see
Started
there?
in
Not you see how the band.
1877.
So how was Jackson State, Mississippi created? The founder. Just give us some little history about him.
Okay, then Jackson State University was founded at Natchez, Mississippi in 1877. We started there with the National Mission Homes Commission and the National Baptist Seminary. And it was
Mm-hmm.
a school that was actually started for freed slaves, okay, to train them as ministers. And then it elevated to what traditionally happened in our HBCUs. If they were not agriculture mechanical schools, then you trained them to become teachers. And so we moved from Natchez. Natchez used to be the capital of Mississippi, but we moved from Natchez to the new capital of Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi. And I can't tell you the top of my head. Oh, I used to know what year that actually happened. But we in 1979 became the designated urban university for the state of Mississippi. And so, as it relates to HBCUs, I think we're number one all over the world. But we are the largest HBCU in the state of Mississippi. And now we're in Jackson, Mississippi, which is centrally located. We're 3 hours from everything: Birmingham, New Orleans, about 4 hours from Pine Bluff, about 4.5 hours from, maybe 5 hours from Little Rock, 3 hours from Memphis. We can get to a lot of places, 5.5 hours from Atlanta, Georgia. So I think we are in a central location
Y'all are. I
as
didn't
it
know y'all
relates to
could get to
Mississippi.
everything that quick. That y'all are centrally located.
We are. We're surrounded by a lot of states and with a lot of great people and potential students. And our mission is larger. We have 13 doctoral degrees. We have 16 online programs. We have about 139 bachelor's degrees. And we have engineering. We have all of the humanities. You name it, we have it. We're ready to serve here at Jackson State and continue the legacy of not just freed slaves, but of African Americans and anyone who wants the experience of an HBCU. What's near and dear to my heart, I came from Illinois to come to Jackson State, and I learned about what it meant to be in a nurturing environment. So that's what we do at HBCUs, and that legacy is continuing.
Wow, that is incredible. I didn't know that school was that big. All right, let me see
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, we have right now, we have about 7,500 students. We've had as many as 9,800 When the economy changes, a lot of things change, but we're moving forward, and we have the majors, we have the programs. I would say we're best known for, of course, the sonic boom of the South, but as it relates to academics, we produce more computer scientists than any other HBCU. We're the number one producer of PhDs among HBCUs. So there are a lot of great things happening at Jackson State.
That's all.
So what? Hold on one second, Joyce. You're frozen.
I'm frozen.
Oh, she's not frozen
Yeah,
for us. Okay,
You can't see me moving.
I can.
you can. She's not frozen.
No, she's not frozen to us.
I can see it. I'm moving.
I see you moving.
Yeah, me too. So I can't. Okay,
I'm still moving.
that's good. That's cool. That's cool. It's no
Oh,
problem.
all right. So TC is going to talk about the alumni who's graduated from Jackson State.
I,
Okay.
okay. I did you. I'm having a hard time. Let me go out and come back in. Okay.
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
do you know the big name? Ooh. Okay. She's gonna go out and come back in. I think I was frozen to her.
Okay. So do we want to continue any kind of conversation as it relates
Yeah.
to
Yes.
HBCUs or preparing for HBCUs?
Yes. Ma'am. What are you all
Definitely about preparing.
requirements?
Yeah, we can talk about preparing for Jackson State.
Okay.
We naturally take students who come in with a college prep curriculum. Those are those students who take 4 years of English, 3 years of science, 3 years of math. Then they have humanities, and then a couple other. But that's the college prep, your foreign language, at least 2 years of your foreign language. Those things are important. And then we do the ACT, a 17 or higher with the 3.20 GPA, that can get you that regular admissions into Jackson State University. And then because we know that our students oftentimes come from environments where they're not best prepared, and it has nothing to do with intellectual capacity, but access and opportunity. And for that, we have some other scale downs for your for admissions to Jackson State. So our students can actually come in with a 2.5 or 50% rank in their class, with a 16 or higher on their GPA, on their ACT or ACT equivalent. And then you have another level that is with a 2.0, and with the 2.0, those students have to have an 18 or higher on the ACT. And then for those students who say, hey, I'm not a good test taker, I'm not done well in taking tests, we do have some other test opportunities to help the student to get admitted into the university. That may mean that they end up in a support program that helps to prepare them and get them ready for regular academic courses. But we have that support because we're HBCU. The nature of us is to nurture our students and to help them to reach their full potential. It's all about student success every day.
You ready, TC? Can you hear me? TC.
I think TC is the one who's having the technical difficulties.
I think so.
Now I don't want that rivalry to come out of me, because in a minute I'm gonna be worried about it. I'm gonna be worried about our people and what's going on with our people, since we got the sonic boom of the South people on today.
I don't think she can hear us. TC,
I
are
don't
you
think
okay?
she can either. Tiger Country.
Can you hear us, TC?
No,
She can't, but she's waving right away.
Oh my goodness.
but I mean,
Hey, But if you want, we can still go ahead. If you want to keep moving, we can talk about our alumnus who's with us,
Yes, yes. I was just
Asia
gonna.
Collins.
Well, let me do this. Let me do
Oh,
this before
share.
we talk about the present day alumnus who is absolutely phenomenal, Asia.
Yes.
Let me talk about some notable alum that have come out of Jackson State University.
Okay.
First of all, you, Doc, you came. You're an alum of Jackson State. You know.
I I am
Um.
alum of Jackson State University. Very proud to say that. And if you want to
Okay.
go notable, I would love to say that as the
Well,
associate
you're
dean of the
notable.
boys. Hmm?
You are notable because you are Dr. Loria Brown Gordon. You are the associate dean of the Du Bois Honors College, Du Bois Harvey Honors College. So yes, that is absolutely major. We loved, I know W.E.B. Du Bois very well. I mean, not personally, but he was one of
I
my
got you.
favorite, one of my favorites. And so
That is outstanding. That is.
outstanding.
I've never met a dean of a college before. I mean, oh my
and and a,
goodness.
and a and a dean is different than a dean in high school. A
Yeah.
high
Oh
school
yes.
dean is not a good thing, but a dean in college is absolutely phenomenal. But let me just
Oh
finish.
yes.
Morgan Freeman, y'all. Morgan Freeman, we know Morgan as an American actor, film director, narrator. Walter Payton, everyone knows him as an American football legend, Chicago
Yes.
Bears. Benny Thompson, United States Representative for Mississippi, the Second Congressional District. Patricia Jessamy, former Chief Prosecutor for the City of Baltimore. Rod Page, he's a former United States Secretary for the Department of Education under the Bush administration. Cassandra Wilson, y'all. Cassandra Wilson is an American jazz musician, vocalist, and songwriter. And last but not least, I always do things either in threes or in sevens. Tanea Stewart. Now we know Tanea Stewart. She's been in many, 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 many movies, but the one movie that really, I guess, took us all for a gasp was A Time to
Time to
Kill.
kill.
She was the mother in A
Yes.
Time to Kill.
And when she was at
So,
Jackson State, she was Miss Jackson State University.
wow, really?
Yes. Yes.
Y'all just
See,
got some outstandingness going on down there. See,
you be some.
I have a moderator in here. Her name is Mo. She graduated from Jackson State, so she's a very proud of you all.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
so we have somebody in the building. Let's say hey to Mo.
Hi,
What's
Yes,
going
hey Mo. Tell everybody hey Mo. I was
on?
trying
Okay,
to
see,
keep
see,
it.
there y'all go. Being disrespectful. This
I was trying to keep
I love
this. I was trying to keep this hush so that I could surprise Mo, but we had to release trailers. But I was trying to surprise you, Mo. I didn't want you to know until we actually did it.
Okay.
So it is an
Wonderful.
honor, and I deem it a privilege to now introduce one of the most recent alum of our prestigious HBCU, Jackson State University, Miss Asia Collins. She has a bachelor's degree in history, and she has a master's of arts degree in Christian leadership. She's going to give you
Yes.
more of the 411. She's going to download her to us and, tell us a little bit about yourself, Asia.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, great. Um, my name's Aisha Collins. I graduated in 2016 with my Bachelor of Art degree in history from the Jackson State University, and I just finished in June 1st, actually 2019 of this year, with my master's in Christian leadership from African Bible College in Malawi, Africa.
Mm.
What made you go to Africa?
What actually led me to go to Africa was in 2016. This lady right here, Dr. Gore. I was a part of the Honors College, and we did a study abroad 2-week program in Cape Town, South Africa, for 2 weeks,
Mm.
in global health. And it was 26 of us. Jackson State sponsored the entire trip. We had all women and one guy with us during that trip, and that really opened my eyes up and my heart up for really saying like I don't think I could just stay in Mississippi to get my master's. Like I really seriously feel like I would like to go study abroad and go somewhere different. I really wanted to go back to South Africa, to be honest, but the doors opened up for me to go to Malawi, and so I took them. I really did. But my I guess me venturing out was basically started because of me studying abroad in Cape Town for those 2 weeks.
Wow.
Jackson State. So yeah.
I
Yeah.
did want to ask you a question. Aisha. So you majored in history. Is it just U.S. history or just world history?
We learned everything from monarchies to Caribbean history to African history, Black history, um, American history. We learned so many different types of history. The history of science and behavior, women's history. Basically, we got a really well-rounded education when it came to history. And although I would say for most people who, I believe for me, it's been one of those things that changed my life. Understanding where things
Oh,
begin and how they have come about now. As history majors, we see the world in a whole different view. There's a root and cause and start of everything, and having that degree for me and learning how to see things from a chronological order, that there's a start to everything, it helps you be able to process how to deal with problems. I don't think I see a decline with liberal arts majors now because of STEM, and I understand that that makes money for universities, but the world will not, continue to go forth and being great and doing, different things or making changes and solving problems without liberal arts majors, without history majors, because we are
that's right.
kind of the people who kind of pretty much see things and see why these things have come about and are able to solve them because of the past, because of history.
I have a quick
I
question.
told you she was a superstar.
Yes, she is.
I have a quick question. I just a lot of the times it's said that African Americans or Black people in the United States we we've lost our history. And with you being a history major, were you able to connect our ancestry to us? How do you say? What is the transatlantic slave trade? Were you able to connect those and go back and see history for us? Because a lot of us can't go back that far. I can't hear her.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me now? I took a race and racism class, U.S. race and racism class under Dr. Smith with political science. As a history major, we have to have so many credits of political science. And with that class, what we saw was race is something that has been developed in America. Studying
Mm,
2 years abroad in Africa, I can see how, as much as I would like to say I have African roots, I am not African. I am more so American than I am African. And I can't say I'm white, and neither can I say I'm African. So as African Americans, we have a unique mix. We're not one thing. We're not identified by European, we're not identified by African. We're our own people, and
that's
and
right.
that in itself gave me identity in a way that has been for me life changing. It really, for most African Americans, because we come from a place where we don't know identity, we don't know who we are. We find our identity in the Black Power movement, we find our identity in the Civil Rights movement. And for
That's
me to
right.
go abroad, here in the Go Back to Africa movement, and having gone back to Africa for 2 years and still not finding, like I fit in any type of way,
Mm,
I would say that we are our own people. It's
that's right.
expressed through our culture, through the way we do our hair, from being at HBCU. For me, I would say going to a suburban school, I really kind of pretty much lost what it meant to be Black, because you're surrounded by white music, you're surrounded by white culture, you're surrounded by every other culture than your own, and you are not taught who you are and the pride of being who you are. Only thing you learn in history class is that I'm a slave, and Martin Luther King, and there's
Right.
nothing wrong with that. That's our
Right,
facts, but it's not all that defines me. But
right.
having, Oh, sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I did take some college courses, and when I took world civilizations, because
Mm-hmm.
I could not, I know this is probably going to sound ignorant, but I just could not understand how Shaka Zulu and warriors got taken over.
Hmm.
And from what I was told and taught in classes, that we were actually given over or sold over by our own African people.
Um, I would say yes and no. I don't know if you recently watched. I'm trying to remember. I don't want to quote it wrong, but there was a walk that was done from Tanzania. I can't remember the exact place right now. It's not coming to my head. But basically, it was a group of people who went and prayed over that whole walk because it was like a slave trade route, and they went and prayed to of that stronghold of slavery on that country. Um, but for me, I can't necessarily say I would blame um, those who sold us over as being the root cause for that. Because you have in other parts of Africa where you had people, you had already had tribalism that was going on in Africa, period. You know, as far as fighting for territory. And I don't want to say, you know, if it was for us, we have our own tribes. All four of us have our tribes. There's always going to be war going on to take over territory, take over land. So why would I not sell off the person that I'm in war against simply because of land? And I believe our ancestors, out of not knowing and understanding the manipulations of the European culture to promote capitalism, to promote, you know, division, to promote, you know, this European imperialism in Africa simply to take it over, to take over the resources of a country. They manipulated politics and used that as a way to manipulate us. Whereas for us, our economy thrived on tribalism, you know, war and you know, and that was the way we did things. But never will we have turned slavery into what Americans turned slavery into. We're talking about it on a whole nother level in the British, you know, what the British did. Americans used slavery as a way to continue to perpetuate um, the putting down of black people in the country simply to build off their backs. And if I could quote a guy, I can't remember his name, really powerful guy. He has some shows on Netflix. He talks about how we have rights as a people. We build this country off our backs. America pretty much has been built, and so often we walk around with our heads down when we have so much to be proud of because we've built America. I mean, there would be no America without us. There would be, you know, no type of systems of capitalism, of government, if it wasn't for African Americans, if it wasn't for black people in this country. And for that, that has given me my pride to say I'm American. I am African American simply because I'm not African and I'm not European. I'm American. I was born here. I fought here. I've gained my history here. I've invested. My ancestors have invested. And so, to your question, Joyce, I want to just say I could blame the African people, our ancestors who, you know, sold us. I simply think it was a misunderstanding of what Europeans at that time were trying to do, and the greed and stuff that was in their hearts, if that makes sense.
Yes. And I'm sorry I
I
went
have a,
off because,
I
Intellect,
have a, yeah,
intellect.
but
yeah. I
when
have a
you said you're a history major, I had to ask you that. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sasha.
Fine, that's fine.
Okay, I want to get back to on the shores on this side of the pond of
Okay.
America. This is America, and you
Okay.
know this is America, which means that our trials and tribulations are Asia, and oftentimes I want to let me just say this. I want to find out who inspired you, you know, to go to college. What was your inspiration?
I would say for me, my mom's a single parent, and she's always in some way pretty much pushed us in saying that you're gonna go to college. I don't think she ever gave us an option. It was just like, I didn't go to college, your dad didn't go to college, your grandparents haven't gone to college. Pretty much, you got to go to college.
Okay.
um,
Mm-hmm.
and for me, having that freedom to not necessarily major in something that she felt like she wanted me to make money. You know, we have this thing called a black tax, and so a lot of people feel pressured to major in things that they don't want to major in simply because you make money. But my mom saw my passion for me for history, and that really launched me to that's pushing me, spearheading me on to go to college. And I would say my mom has been that biggest inspiration for me. Of course, other people and mentors along the way that have been encouraging me to go to college. But my mom has been that biggest push, because she never let me simply settle for just saying you're gonna work and get a job. No, like I've
There you
done
go.
this going to college. So yeah.
Let me ask you a question. Another question, Asia. I heard you say that your parents went to college,
No,
right?
they
Yeah.
didn't. They didn't. No, they didn't. They didn't.
Okay, and so part of the inspiration was that you would be, are you first generation?
Yes, first generation on. Yeah, first generation. It's on my mom's side. First generation.
For
On your
multiple
mother's side.
generations.
For
Yeah.
multiple generations, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Because
So
my family were farmers, so they pretty much farmed. And
got it.
they didn't have the privilege to go to college. So yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm loving the fact you said that there were 26 of you who went to the continent, correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
And when you went
26.
to the continent, one of the things that's really interesting is that, especially HBCUs never get any credit for, really doing some things. It's always all these other the PWIs,
Mhm.
are always accredited as being the ones that spearhead all of this new. They're the trailblazers. They're the pioneers for this thing called, I guess you could say global intelligentsia. I'm flattered. I am happy to be a part of this HBCU family with you all and sharing that, 26 of you all went to the continent. And I'll never forget when I went to the continent with Dr. Ben. Dr. Ben and Dr. James Smalls, Dr. Francis Cresswellsing, and to go to the continent and to chronologically be able to do what some of the things that you all were doing there is you can't, that education is
Yep.
priceless. It's
Absolutely.
priceless. And for folks, especially our folks on this back here, on this side of the pond, who always say, oh, we don't travel, we don't do anything. Well, I'm here to say, Asia, and there are many others who do travel. We have folks that have gone, that are in the military, that have traveled the world, and we do travel. It's what we do when we're traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Absolutely.
just want to say thank you, Asia. And Doc, thank you for bringing Asia,
Yes.
with you on this panel with Joyce. Because Joyce has always been like, listen, she wants to, delve into this thing with in reference to education. We must educate our people on how to get into college, and I'm not
Absolutely.
doing it. I'm not helping out unless it's an HBCU. Period. Where I work, when they come in my job and they say, my kid wants to go to college, they want to go to Temple. I said, go talk to Bill Cosby. Okay? Because
Oh
I'm
my
not that
goodness.
chick. However, when it comes down to getting us young people into college and colleges, HBCUs are numero uno, and that's it, point blank. And we have so many of them. Hey, Doc, how many HBCUs do we have right now accredited?
Oh gosh, I can't tell you how many are accredited, but I do know that accreditation is important. And we've had some incidents most recently where schools have lost accreditation. And when that happens, we lose Title III funds. And when you lose Title III funds, that means your low income students don't have any financial aid to go to school. And eventually that shuts us down. So
Right.
accreditation is important. I don't know what the number looks like right now as it relates to HBCUs. I think there are 101 that still exist right now. But yeah, it's really important. And even for our students, as we educate our students, we talk about what programs you got accredited colleges, and then within your colleges or universities you have departments and schools that are also accredited. For me, back in the 80s, when I was making a decision about coming to an HBCU, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. So for me, being black, I didn't know what that was. and I wanted a Black experience. And I decided that very late. I decided it like June after I had graduated. I graduated in June, and then I decided in June, I think I want to go to an HBCU. I need to be around some people to learn
Okay.
about who my history was. And it's really ironic that I Asia and I'm old enough to be her mother, but even
Oh,
for her, she talked about, learning. Only thing I knew about was Rosa Parks because one of my schools was named after her, and Martin Luther King because my daddy used to play the records when we were little of his speeches and talk about the riots in Chicago for which he participated when Martin Luther King was killed.
all right.
So for me, at some point between graduating and starting college, I had an epiphany that said, you know what? I need to go somewhere where I can be exposed to who I can really be as an African American. And unfortunately, no, fortunately, I came to Jackson State and I fell in love with this place. And I've been in Mississippi now 30 something years. And a lot of people say Mississippi is a land of opportunity. And if you can acquire some education while you're here, the sky's the limit. The sky is the limit. I live very comfortably because I chose an HBCU and because that HBCU has chosen me over the years to be an employee.
Oh,
That's what you
okay.
that's what you get.
One question Dr. Joyce. I call her Dr. Joyce. Isn't that something? Let's start.
Amen. We claim
You
it.
know
All right,
that. Let's
Joyce, go
speak
get
it
it.
into
Hey,
existence.
we have online degree
Doc-
programs at Jackson State. We can get you there.
Oh, wow.
um, uh, Dr. Joyce, I need to ask doctors one question, especially as it pertains to a northerner to another northerner. Okay, so doctor, I want to. I'm from Brooklyn. I live in Philly. You know that.
Mhm.
You're from the suburbs of Chi-Town, correct?
Correct?
Now, you know us, the Northerners, when we hear it and we hear this thing called Jackson, Mississippi, a lot
Mm.
of folks are like, "Oh my goodness."
Mhm.
So, my thing is this, let me ask you, what was your take on at the time Jackson going down? What was your take, your family's take, and possibly some of your people that you went to school with? Your take on going to Jackson, Mississippi for college?
Wow. Well, let me tell you. So, up in the Midwest in Illinois, when you talk about HBCUs, you get a different level of respect because
Okay,
most of my teachers, if I had a Black teacher growing up in the 70s, my Black teacher graduated from an HBCU. And
that's right.
that was a very highly respected profession. So that made a big difference. So when we talked about HBCUs or when you heard about an HBCU, it was because there was a teacher who was there who had attended an HBCU because that's where they had to go to get their teaching credentials.
That's right.
Okay. So
Yes,
when
ma'am.
they got those credentials, they may have gone back north and whatever case, and you heard about those HBCUs, but I don't think they really pushed it enough. But then when you start to recollect what's happened, then you go, oh, she went to Alcorn and she went to Jackson State and she went to Howard and she went to Lincoln. And you're like, oh, those are HBCUs. So you heard the college names, but you didn't hear HBCU. And so for me, once I started learning about HBCUs, that became important. Now I'll tell you guys something that's really, really funny. My mother was 15 when I was born. So when I left home to go to college, I was 17. I finished high school at 16. And so my mother came to Jackson State. She was distraught. Just think 32 years old and here your daughter is leaving home. Okay? You're just learning who you are at 32. But anyway, so my dad and my dad was my stepfather who reared me, but they pulled up to Jackson State, what we call the plaza at the time, to get my ID
Okay.
card to take me into my dorm. And my mother said to me, and this crushed my heart. It crushed my heart. She said, if you wanted to live, you could have moved to Chicago. You didn't have to come all the way to Jackson State. It crushed me. But then I said, you know what? This is a place that I chose in my heart. I ain't said to my mama now. I'm just tell you what my thoughts were. Okay, I had that mama. She was only 32, but you didn't play no games, right?
Right,
I said,
right.
Mama, I'm gonna get my degree and I'll be home in 4 years. Okay. When I told you all earlier, 32 years later. And I even remember, and I like to say this for first generation college students, oftentimes when you do come, wherever you go to get your degrees, then you tell your family you're going to go get a master's degree. They were like, man, you're supposed to get a job so you can help contribute to the family. But
Right.
what we have to
Exactly.
understand is that the vision that he has for us may not be where he's allowed to manifest for other people to see, and we got to forge that vision. So for me, I knew very early, one, I was going to college because my daddy that reared me said you were going to college. Okay.
That's right.
And then the other things, he bought me some encyclopedias when I was young. And I started reading those encyclopedias. I found out they were really boring to read. So I had to start creating reasons to read those encyclopedias. And one thing I found out was I knew I was going to college. So I started using those encyclopedias to study about colleges and majors and degrees and all those kind of things. So very early, I knew for me, I wanted a doctorate. I thought they were all medical degrees, right? And I was like, man, I can't do no needles. I can't do no needles. I can't do blood, and I can't do people screaming. When I found out about PhDs and EDDs, I was like, yeah, that's just for me. And so even over the years, as I continued my education, my family was like, oh my God, she's in school again. But now they like, hey y'all, that's my niece over there. That's Dr. Gordon. Or I go visit my mom in Chicago. She's a beautician in Chicago, and I go to the shop and visit with her. And then they're like, that's Alice's daughter. And then my mom says, this is my daughter with a PhD. So a lot of times
That's
our
right.
family
Something to brag
members don't
about.
necessarily get the vision, but when he gives you, when the Lord gives you what it is he wants you to do, you follow
Yes.
through. You just keep forging, you keep forging, and then he'll make that path so clean and plain for you. Whatever the naysayers say, you just got to know what your vision is and just stay, just stick with it. And when you come to a HBCU, Jackson State took me, I think I scored like 18 or 20 or something on the ACT. It wasn't a whole lot.
17.
It was not a whole lot. But they took me and they said, you know what? You can. And that's why, for me, when I talk to students, I know right away there's a difference between the intellectual capacity and what you've been exposed to.
That's right.
So
Yes.
that's so important. You got to be exposed and having smaller environments where you have people who really can care and love on you. I mean, I remember back then we had canned goods in our room to get some pork and beans out because we couldn't call our parents and ask for a cell phone. We had, anyway, it wasn't an easy task to make it through college. But when you know what the vision is, and you have somebody who say, "Man, I ate pork and beans out of a can last night," and they pass you their plate that they just ordered from the restaurant, that says to me, that's why I'm here, because this person is offering something to me when they knew I was in need. Or somebody said, "Hey, young lady, have you been to church? Um, you invited to my church this Sunday. What time do I need to pick you up? I'm gonna be right there at that class." That's the value of an HBCU.
Mm.
And for me now, as an employee, I can give back so much to so many young people. I give financially as well, but I give back my time and my care that was vested in me. So I'm gonna pay it forward for those who need to come behind me. And that's what it's about. It's the experience. This young lady, when I met this young lady, I knew she was a superstar when I met her. But we've had the time to just really grow together. We started a Bible study at Jackson State, and
Oh,
she met with the girls on Friday morning, and she told us, she said, "Hey," I said, "You know what? It's called Sunrise Sisters." And we meet with the young ladies at 7:15 in the morning on Friday mornings in the cafeteria at Jackson State. She named it Sunrise Sisters. So you're talking about young people creating legacy if all we do is
mm,
just guide them and let them lead.
that's
So
right.
I think that's the value of an HBCU. And so for me, that life has been wonderful just because I decided to leave Illinois and to come to Jackson State. And I said all that because I was choosing between Jackson State and Howard. Both of them had accredited mass communications departments.
That's
And
right.
I only chose Jackson State because, one, because it had an accredited program, but because my grandparents were going to be about an hour and a half away in case I got a
Okay.
little homesick. Okay, that made
Right.
the difference for
That
me.
home cooking, sis.
My
Yeah. So you just got to deal with the naysayers and know that there's a plan for your life and you got to move forward with it. And that's what we try to do is encourage our students to figure out what that plan is and move forward with it. You working on moving forward with yours, aren't you,
Yep, I
Aisha?
am. I am. I am.
Okay.
Let me ask you, one of the schools we interviewed last week said that cybersecurity was one of their most up and coming majors. Are you all tracking like that as well?
We do not have a cybersecurity major, but
Okay.
we have, oh gosh, I'm trying to think what, there's a minor. We have a cybersecurity center that's a part of Jackson State University. So our students, and I don't know which majors off the top of my head are involved. And I think any level of majors
Some
can
of the
be
good ones.
involved, but we have our students who are working with that contract that we have for cybersecurity. It's at one of our offsite campuses at our Mississippi East Center, but we have a bona fide cybersecurity center, and our students do get the hands-on experience there.
Hmm.
Wow, wow. This interview has been, I've learned so much. In Asia, please, please come back and talk to us about the history that you've learned so that we too can connect the dots
Okay.
and find out, what our strength is. Because all we know is that we were slaves.
Yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
true. That's true. That's true. Actually, I after I've been back for I think 3 months. Should be
Yeah,
three
three
months now. I've
months.
been back in the States for 3 months. 3 months, and I'm trying my best not to get back acculturated with the negative parts of American society. And that's been one of those things. I think it's a constant practice, but for someone who's had their mind open, it's very hard for me to fall back into the natural routine of things that I see and know could be different or are different, or having seen Black people operate in a whole new mentality and way for me allows me to not make excuses for myself, and also not make excuses for those around me. And so the biggest thing right now, I'm pushing my business journey speaks since I've graduated. I'm writing as a writer, and I write poetry, stories, and working on doing motivational speaking through my business journey speaks, so that I can really push my knowledge and my experience as being a history major. And I write that experience in my pieces. I perform it, creating panels and workshops to be able to talk to people and mostly young people and college students, and educate maybe even older people about the ways in which we need to come together and collab about moving forward. So those are some things that I'm looking forward and venturing out on, and really pushing my experience. I think for HBCU for me is the family. Coming back in
Yeah.
town, I cannot tell you how much I've been able to go to my professors, or even have my professors call me and say, "Hey, we're looking for adjunct, teachers. Are you interested in lecturing? How can we help you get a job? Can I connect you to this person?"
There you
And
go.
feeling like they feel threatened in any type of way, because society, if we look at corporate America right now, it's all about me, 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 me. And for the HBCU, having that experience to have someone who's saying, "Hey, just like my own daughter and son, I want to push you to be excellent. I want to push you to be the best you can be. I don't want
That's right.
anything from you. Just simply go pay it forward, represent well, and and give it your all." And I think you can't get that from any other school. It's just not possible. I see my friends who have gone to other schools, and it's just nothing like going to HBCU. For me, has been that encouragement and having that family around you, that no matter where you go in the world, if you got a Jackson State graduate, they down for you. They got your back, and they're gonna help you be all that you need to be. So that's been cool for me.
Now, can I get a little messy
Yeah.
for a second,
What you
Dr.
got?
Joyce?
Mm-hmm.
Can I get a messy? Because I want to, and this is really simple. Like, when we hear Jackson, Mississippi, again, we hear, we think of the Klan and all that kind of good stuff. I'm hearing, though, from you too, okay, that it's family. Doc, you said that you were an hour and a half away from your grandparents, so you drove an hour and a half away, right?
Yeah.
And you
Absolutely.
did you all have any encounters with the Klan?
Not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Let me ask you another question. Did you all have an encounter with white racists?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Now that's a different kind of that's a different category there. Okay,
Okay. All right.
because
Okay.
but
So Doc,
also you got to deal with you not only have
Doc, no,
white
no,
racists,
no,
you
no,
have black
no.
racists.
You
But
because
guess what? This
listen.
is what I want to tell you. We don't
Okay.
we don't live in shacks. The chickens are not running
Our roads are
underneath.
paved.
Our roads are paved. The
People
chickens are
wear
not
shoes.
running in our house. People wear
Thank you.
shoes. It's not a front door, back door kind of situation.
That's right.
No, no, we're living well, and you have a huge middle upper class population of African Americans living in Mississippi. Now you do have some areas that are older area and where you have more poor people in those areas, but you're going to have that in any state that you are in.
That's
Any
right.
state that you're in, you're going to have those kind of situations. But we have Outback Steakhouse, and we have McDonald's and
Fine wine, fine
Right.
dining.
fine dining. Yeah, we have a
Do,
real nice
do y'all
club
have Piggly
downtown.
Wiggly? You have Piggly Wiggly.
And we have a Piggly Wiggly. Oh, now that's where you go
All
get
right.
some
What are
real
you all
Chinese
right
food.
with me?
That's
Long
Piggly Wiggly does a lot of business with the local farmers and the local growers. So when they say organic, it's organic for real. It's not that organic that you getting shipped somewhere. You all know there's a little fertilizer on that stuff, don't
Yes, it is. Now, I have to admit something.
Let, and
I have a
let me
14-year-old
let me
son.
just say this real quick, Dr. Joyce. Please, 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 please. I know. I asked the question about the Ku Klux Klan, and I appreciate your answer. I asked the question about the white racists, and I appreciated your answer. And I heard you say, and I'm going to cut this off. You said that those two are two different categories. Now, I want to say thank you for that because we know that Ku Klux Klan, KKK members are not they're Ku Klux Klan, white supremacists, and then there are white racists.
you?
Two totally different categories.
Absolutely.
One has power, the other one wishes to have power.
Absolutely. And what people need to understand, they're not walking around with white capes on and white jackets. They walk
Oh,
around in a suit, the same suit your next door neighbor has on. And
okay.
they're not flashing their cars, they're just in their pockets.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. So that's all because I want people to get it right that we have white racists and white supremacists everywhere in every state.
Mm-hmm.
As a matter of fact, the Grand Dragon and the Grand Wizard live up here in Pennsylvania and in Connecticut. They're up here in the north. I
Yeah.
just want everybody to know that. The other thing is that there is a difference between a white supremacist and a white racist. White racists have power. Everybody who's white, they're not necessarily racist. Some of them wish to aspire to have power because they too have been kicked to the curb. Word on the curb.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Dr. Joyce. I'm done with my soliloquy. Go.
Well, I wanted to be honest with our guests. I have a 14-year-old son, and I've said this to the other universities we've spoken with. And I want to introduce him to HBCUs, but I was scared to introduce him to Jackson State. And that is because of what happened to Emmett Till. I did not want to send my son to Mississippi and not get him back.
Mm-hmm.
It may sound a little ignorant because that was so many years ago,
Mm-hmm.
but that's still something that bothers me.
Yeah. So, well, my family, we have three African American males that we have reared. We have a 25-year-old, a 21-year-old, and a 22-year-old. So we understand being for real with our African American boys in regards to how they need to live and where they need to go and where they don't need to go, who they need to socialize with and who they don't need to socialize with. I always told my sons, when you go in the store, You make sure you come out with a receipt if you've purchased anything. Don't let
And
nobody ever tell you that you don't need a receipt. I don't care if you spend 2 cents. They need to give you a receipt when you're headed out the door. And that's to deal with the reality of the African American male in any community anywhere. Now,
right.
for me, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. And for me, as an African American female, there is no other place that I know of that I would have wanted to rear my children in other than Jackson, Mississippi. So many
Okay.
opportunities that are here and that have been here. Now, is some of the climate changing now? Some of the climate is changing, but it's not changing as it relates to how you're being treated by white men and white people. Remember, we're in the Bible Belt. So whether we camouflage it with Christianity or we're authentic with it, that's any of us. It doesn't make a difference what the race is. But you have a community of people, white people, who truly and authentically love the Lord, and they love the Lord in such a way that they know his people are his people, irregardless of the pigmentation that's in their skin. And so when we open our minds and we help our young people to open their minds to say that everybody your shade, everybody with your pigmentation is not looking out the best for you, but you have to walk in the spirit in such a way that you can make some discernment about where you need to be and where you don't need to be, and who you need to be with and who you don't need to be with. I think this is an awesome place as it relates to just opportunities for our African American men who are in college. Now, if you're not in college and you're just floating around and you don't have degrees, they're not a lot of opportunities for you. But for those who want an education and want to move forward with it, Jackson, Mississippi, Jackson State University is a place where they can come and create their own future. I just finished participating in a research forum with some of my students a few days ago. Those students are doing research all over the world and representing Jackson State University and coming back and telling their stories. They're being exposed. They're being exposed because Jackson State, I know, is saying, we need you doing internships. We need you doing co-ops. We need you studying abroad and putting forth the resources to make sure those young people are exposed. And the better you're exposed, the better decisions you are able to make. So yes, Emmett Till was a while ago. That's not relevant what's really happening here today in Mississippi. More of, if you want to deal with anything and violence in African Americans, it's in our own community against each other. It's people you know. It's not the strangers, because we're not going into the predominantly white communities committing crimes. We're only doing it in the communities where we know we are the majority. But for
Right.
safety and for being around people who will authentically mentor and love on an African American male, I think we have it here in Mississippi. And for me, it's been a pleasure to have a
Mhm.
community of both black and white to expose my children to and to love on my children.
And you got us. We down here.
Yeah, so I do understand the Emmett Till and particularly having black males, rearing black males, and as a parent saying, okay, be careful, watch this, do that, and just an awareness. We have to make sure our black males are aware that they are being treated differently. And it's not just white people are treating them different. They're just being treated differently. And
Period.
even myself, I
Mhm.
can go somewhere and I don't do, just hang out at night or whatever. I'm on campus sometime very late. And God has been so, I know he's protected me from danger seen and unseen. Because
Mhm.
I'm in my office and I may leave early. I may go in early. I may leave late. I've been so, so well protected. But for our people, we just need to know that the Holy Spirit will give us discernment on where we need to be and where we don't need to be. So for our black males, we need to help them get a relationship with Jesus. That's what they need.
Okay.
Amen.
And you can send them
Mhm.
anywhere and they covered.
Yeah.
There is one YouTuber that I don't know if she lives in Jackson, but her name is Deanna Irvin. And when I see this woman, the area that she lives in, her neighborhood, the type of activity she does makes me want to be like her.
Oh, you went out. went dead.
Can be built. So
I missed it.
Mississippi.
Oh, wow, what's going on? Did yours block?
I think she's back.
Are you back now? We missed your whole comment.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, hold on for a second. Can y'all hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So what I was saying is there's a YouTuber here by the name of Deanna Irvin. I hope she sees this video. What I was saying is Deanna Irvin makes it look very easy, the life in Mississippi, the neighborhood she lives in, the activities they do. I was a tomboy when I was younger, so I just recently saw her and her husband riding a four-wheeler. Now, my folks are from Cortland, Alabama, and we were
Okay.
driving cars at an early age. So
That's
to see
Mm-hmm.
them riding four-wheelers, and I mean land was so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful there. I was like, now she makes it look really really easy and good living in Mississippi.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
It is.
Absolutely.
I think it
Absolutely.
is.
Now, I don't want to, put us out, but one of the things we did today, we're sitting in my great room, and we just put up our little JSU sign and our tiger. But the initial piece was for us to sit on the balcony so you all can see the lake that's behind the house. But I was like, no, that's not what it's about today. It's about JSU. So,
We would have enjoyed
oh,
that.
we
and that's
yes.
one of the things I like. The cost, people talk about how much money you make in Mississippi, and it doesn't begin to compare to the money that you make in a DC or probably in a Pennsylvania. But
Right.
for what it costs to live here and
Yes.
the lifestyle we live,
Community
yeah,
and
it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And so again, you're talking, I mean, just the communities right around here, you're talking about African Americans. Probably everybody got anywhere from a half an acre of land up to 30, 40, 50 acres of land that their houses are sitting on.
That's right.
You got
Wow.
communities, but even in our communities where you have home ownership, most homes are on about an acre. They maybe a
Exactly.
half an acre, three-fourths, but they got plenty of land. They not, next door where you can see the walls, or you can't walk between the walls like you can in Chicago. You can't even walk between the walls of two homes. It's not like that. You can own your place and your space. You can actually own land and enjoy land and enjoy,
And
smelling the trees and hearing the crickets. Some people don't want to hear the crickets, but sometimes just going
I
outside and
like
sitting there on
that.
the patio and
Yes.
that solace that you have and just watch the stars. I can just watch the stars. I don't have to worry about a tall concrete building so tall that when I look up, I'm hurting my neck to see the stars. I can just literally walk out and see them. I can watch the
so,
sunset.
so I have a question for you, Doc, and then
Mhm.
Asia. Doc,
Mhm.
quick. Do you have a farm? Do you grow any like cucumbers and tomatoes?
yes.
Cause you was shy town around, girl. You're
Oh,
not
honey.
shy town, but you was shy town around. So I want to know if you're a little city, if you converted and you have a little something to show us, like right now, like a pumpkin or something, you know.
I don't think I have a pumpkin or anything that I can show you today. No. Now,
Okay,
normally I garden. I do have a garden every year,
okay,
but my husband and I have really been pushing a gourmet popcorn business that we started about 2 years ago, and so all of my time has been put forth in our gourmet popcorn business. All of my time, past the JS and the U. But I minister to my young people about HBCUs, and no matter where I'm at, if I'm in
amen.
Walmart, if I'm in Kroger, or if I'm at my popcorn shop, we're gonna
Yeah,
talk about it because it's important to me. And I know for me, it was a way out and a way in. Because we can't just be
okay.
getting out; we got to get in. And so
Get
it's
in.
opened so many doors I couldn't begin to phantom. And so, yeah, so
So I
that's
have
what we
a,
are.
I have a question for Asia. Asia, you
Mhm.
you're are you considered a millennial? Do you consider yourself a millennial?
Yes, I am. I am a millennial.
Okay. So as a millennial, what is in Jackson, Mississippi? What's popping? Like, what you do? Like, you know what I mean? I'm just saying, cause see, I'm from I'm saying, okay. I mean, besides homecoming and a couple of football games, and if A&T comes down there, we take over. Okay.
No, Southern takes over. A&T just shows up.
Oh, 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 you know what? She got it. She got swag. She's got so as a millennial, what is there to do in Jackson, Mississippi? I love Jackson. I wanna, what's up? Tell me.
I would say in recent years, I would say nothing. But after coming back after 2 years, there's a real growing arts and like social like community growing. You
Oh,
have
good.
we'll call in certain areas in Jackson, and you have a more mixed crowd that is beginning to form in the more so midtown areas of Jackson. So the arts community is being built. We have like a live poetry show that's coming here. I don't know if you're familiar with the PIA tour. They're actually coming down. You have a
Okay.
lot of more concerts that are coming down, more so than I've seen in the years when I was in college. You have a lot of more artists coming to Jackson, Mississippi. We have a concert hall. Our Coliseum is being rebuilt. So there's so much more to do now. We have the new museums that are drawing people in.
Oh
The
yeah,
Mississippi
the
Civil
two
Rights
Mississippi
and
museums.
now that has been built, it's
Okay.
really drawing a lot of tourism, and a lot of more young people here. So for me, it's been a lot. For me, as an artist, as a writer, as a poet, it's
Mm-hmm.
been more so for me to go to shows and different events. The art museum has been doing different exhibits and stuff, and creating more space for people like myself to get together and just chat.
And then you have a cadre of, I hate to say use the word yuppies, but you have a cadre of young people who are um who come from or who have amassed money, and they're buying like old warehouses and things and making them into venues for that yuppie, that young adult population. And so I think that makes a big difference. Like Cat Head, that's that beer, it's made right here in Jackson, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the
Mm.
middle of downtown. Is I mean, it's like bam right there. We have more comedy shows that are coming to Mississippi now. So it's a lot of
Right.
different things to, just to expose our young people. And then we have a lot of philanthropy in Mississippi. So a lot of those philanthropic organizations have festivals and fest and things of that nature to bring in
Right.
money and activities and to bring culture to our area.
So there's really hope for me yet. I mean, I can come down with my trombone and play "I'm So Glad I Went to A&T" because that's what I want to do.
I don't know about
No,
that.
I don't think that'll
We'll
work.
give you a closet, a little space in the closet to play.
I have one subscriber. I call him my tribe brother. His name is J Dot. He says, "Do you remember the name Oliver, Doctor Gordon?
Oliver, Dr. Oliver.
Is it Doctor Oliver J Dot?" I'm waiting on them to answer. Somebody asked, "Is there somewhere to read your poetry?"
Yeah. There actually is.
Where?
We have the
It's not a
source.
Doctor Oliver, Doctor Gordon. It's just, I mean, it's just the Doctor Tolliver.
Tolliver. Now, Tolliver, is that a band director, a former band director?
Is it band J Dot? I'm waiting on them to answer.
Okay, go ahead. You can finish up, Aja.
Yeah, there are two places actually to do poetry that I know of. The source, which they usually do the
Where can they
third.
get your poetry?
Oh, for to get my poetry. Right now
Yeah.
I'm still working on building my website. I have a show actually coming up November 1st. At 7 p.m. on a Friday. There'll be my like a great reveal because it's my work. So I'm doing 5 major pieces around that show, and I have invited a couple other artists that are friends to come and perform with me. So from that show, I'm hoping to really build my website. Right now, you can go on I have a fan page on Facebook, and I am on Instagram at Journey_Speaks. So my portrait name is Journey. My stage name is
Oh,
Journey.
Okay. Okay.
Um,
J. Dr. Gordon, he says it was Mass Communications Department. Tolliver, Tolliver.
It sounds like a name I kind of recall, but I don't have a face to go with it. What year were they talking about?
He said, I think he started a radio station in the 1970s.
Oh wow, wow. No, no, I'm not familiar. I
Mhm.
am not familiar, and I'm a mass comm major undergrad, so I probably should have that somewhere in my bank, but it's not coming out of long term.
Okay. Well, ladies, I'm gonna start up the Jackson State Marching Band.
Woo!
I want to thank both of you so much. Hold on for just a second.
We're gonna do a
and
JSU strut for you.
one
We're gonna
last
do a
thing.
JSU strut for you. Come on.
You know what? That's wrong. Don't do it. Don't do it, y'all. Yeah, don't do it. Joyce, Dr. Joyce, sisters, don't do it. Listen, one
What?
last thing, and this is what we say at HBCUs. Excuses are tools of the incompetent, which create monuments of nothingness. Those who specialize in them are seldom good at anything. Excuses. Thank you, Asia. We'll post your information if you like. If you like, we
Yes,
can
yes,
post it,
yes.
Dr. Joyce.
Yeah.
And Dr. Doc, over the lady, the JSU that's doing a whole lot of stuff over there. It's on and popping. MEAC and the SWAC. I challenge you. We
We got
can't
you
wait to see you in Jackson, Mississippi. Maybe you all can invite Joyce and I to your homecoming next year.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure.
Because I
We'll
love
be
to see
ready,
the Battle of the Bands.
and she can bring her son so he can see it all in living color for real.
Yeah,
Live and in living
live.
color, not
Yes.
just in living color, but live and in living color.
All right.
Thank
I'm
you
gonna
all so much.
Thank y'all so much.
thank y'all. I'm gonna let them hear a little bit more of the Sonic Boom, and then we'll end the program. Thank you all so much for taking
Thank
the time
y'all.
out and coming on my platform to give us this good information.
You're
All
so
right,
welcome.
here it comes, y'all.
Thank you.